So to make the half an hour stickers for the Daily Duo, you're going to need to download two different apps. One is called MetaBang Paint and the other one's Cricut Design Space. Now you don't need a Cricut to make these stickers. You can hand cut them if you want, but you can still use Cricut Design Space, and that one's important to be able to get the sizing precise. Okay, so once you have those two apps downloaded, you're going to start by going into MetaBang Paint. And we'll just open that up. Okay, once you have that open, you're going to select up in the upper left-hand corner, New Canvas. And then again, select New Canvas and Done. And that'll just bring you up with a clean space to work at. Okay, so once you have that, you can adjust the coloring to what you want it to be. So I've been matching with the Daily Duo. So for the next month, I'm going to do a yellow because I already have my July ones done. Okay, so you can play around with the coloring until it is what you want it to be. Okay, you can select up on the very top where it says pen on mine. You can select that and it'll come up with a bunch of different writing styles. So you might want to play around with this and see what style you like. I'm just going to stick with pen today. Okay, once you've selected that, you can go up into that left-hand corner where I have the little paintbrush, and you can select that, and you're going to click on Shape Tool. And then we're going to do Rectangle. All right, so once you have that, you can go in and draw out some rectangles. These really don't have to be precise. Like I said, Cricut Design Space is where you're going to go in and really make the sizes precise. Okay, once you have those, if you want, you can leave the inside blank. I'm going to do a color. So in this dark to light, the middle color selector, I'm just going to drag that up so it's really just a lighter shade of the same color, so I know that it'll be complementary. Okay, I'm going to go back up into that upper left hand corner and I'm going to click on the bucket tool, and I'm just going to click inside of each of those boxes just like that. All right, so now you have some of your rectangles. You're going to go to the very bottom left-hand corner. There's those three little lines, and then click on Export PNG/JPG files. And I'm going to save it as PNG. Okay, and save image. So I'll save directly to my device. Okay. Once you've done all of that, you're going to go into Cricut Design Space. And then we're going to select New Project. And we're going to replace. And then down at the bottom, you'll see where it says Upload. So we're going to select that and select from Photo Library. Okay, we'll go to All Photos and click on the one that we just made. All right, so once you get to this screen, this is where you're going to be able to tell it exactly where to cut. So if you look up in the upper right, it looks like we're not cutting anything out. It's just completely black. Go to the bottom left corner where it says Remove. Click on that, and then just click somewhere outside of those squares, and then it'll tell it that it needs to cut those out. I'm going to click on Next. Make sure you select the colorful one, or else it's just going to print black boxes. Okay, and you can smooth if you want, but everything really should be smooth already. And then we'll go to Next, click on the colorful one again, and then give it a name. So this is for August, so I am just gonna name it Aug and click save. Okay, you can see I've done some of the other ones. We're gonna click on the one that we just did and then click insert. All right, so now we have this. You can see the 3 rectangles that I had made, they're all pretty stuck together, and we don't want that because we want to be able to change the size of this specific rectangle, not all of them as a whole. So if you go to the bottom where it says shapes, click on square and click the unlock button. And that'll allow you to change the width without changing the length or vice versa. Okay, once you've done that, you're going to cover up one of those rectangles. It doesn't have to be exact, but just one of them. And then you're going to drag to select both the gray box and your original image. Okay, so once you have that, you're going to go down to Actions and then go over to Slice. Okay, once you've done that, click on Layers, and you can select the different gray ones. So I clicked on the first one that is gray, and then I'm going to click the red X. I'm going to do the second one that is gray and do the red X. And then if I hide the layers, this one is now a free agent down here. Okay, so now we can go and make it the size that we want it to be. So click on Edit, and then you're going to put in your width. So for the cropped half hour, the width that we want is 2.75, and the height that we want is 0.25. Okay, it's going to look really small on the screen, but that is okay. That's what we want. Okay. You can see I just zoomed in a little bit. All right, so now you have one. If you want to make more, you can just make sure that you have that box selected. Go to the bottom where it says Actions again, and then scroll over and click Duplicate. And you can make as many of those as you want. And you don't have to resize them because they're coming out just the same size as that original. So that's why I like to do the sizing before I duplicate. Okay, so then if you wanted to do the other one, so the one we just did, that would be for the cropped half hour. So that'll fit into the daily duo right beside the time. The other one will go on the line that doesn't have a time on it. So it's the same process. So you would go again into Shapes, make sure it's unlocked, and size it over one of your squares, and then select it all, Actions, Slice, and go into Layers and delete the gray ones. And now we have that. Okay, and then the sizing you want for this one to be the regular half hour, not the cropped one, is going to be 3.125, and the height again is going to be the 0.25. And again, if you want multiples of that, you're going to go into Actions and Duplicate. All right, so then once you have what you want on the screen, I'm just going to delete this one. Okay, once you have those, you can click on Make It. And it'll sort it onto the map for you and show you what it's going to look like. All right, and then you can do Continue. And then I'm going to finish this up on the computer. So stay tuned if you want to watch that part, and I'll show you how to print it off. And then from there you can hand cut it, or I'll show you how the Cricut cuts it also. Alright guys, so you can see I made a bunch of duplicates of the cropped half hour and the full half hour. You can arrange these if you want them printed in a specific way, but I really don't care how these print out as long as they all work. So what you're going to do next, and I'm doing this from a computer, but I know people who say that they're able to do it from their phone. I don't really know what makes a device compatible with using print and cut, but I know my phone does not work with it, so I switched over to the computer. So I'm going to go over to this top right corner at this point and click Make It. Okay, and you can see it just kind of sorted everything. Again, I didn't tell it a specific order to sort it, so that's fine. And then I'm going to go to that bottom right corner and click Continue. Okay, you can see it's connecting to the machine, and then you're going to send to printer. And then just select your printer and click Print. I should mention that I of course have sticker paper in my printer already. I just use Office Depot brand like full sheet label paper. It's not the best, but it's also not the worst. It works for me. It was really affordable, and so that is just what I'm using. So that just printed out. And you can see it looks like that. Those should perfectly fit into the Daily Duo half hour slots. And again, from this point, if you don't have a Cricut, you can just go ahead and cut these with scissors or a paper cutter. I do have a Cricut, so I'm going to go ahead and feed these in. Whenever you're going to feed them in, you want to really make sure that your paper is lined up the way that they show it. So it has the small boxes up top, like that. So that is how I'm going to put mine onto the mat. All right, so I have it on my mat. I'm going to go ahead and load it into my machine now. All right, and with print and cut, it will go through this process where it's just kind of scanning the lines to get the cuts accurate. I have mine set to vinyl, so that way it does a kiss cut where it'll cut that top layer, but it won't cut all the way through. Depending on what paper you choose, you might want to do some trial and error runs just to see what level works for you. I've been using this paper for a little while now, and I've had it on vinyl, and that seems to be what works. I've tried it on some other settings, and it's cut all the way through, and it's just kind of made it a more difficult process. You can see it's just starting to go through and cut exactly where we told it to. Okay, so we're just going to let this do its job, and then I will check in once it is done. All right, guys, so at this point you can see that I have the stickers done. Some of them, it did go through the paper a little bit, and that's where you do just want to kind of toy around with the different pressures and see what works for you. I don't sell these, so if it's a little imperfect, I'm not super concerned about it. If the whole thing had gone through and it was a single strip, I would have gone through and redone them because I don't want them curling. I want them to stay pretty flat while they're in storage. But now you have them like this. It did cut them out pretty well. I put the bleed on whenever I did the print and cut, and that just makes sure that there's not like a white outline outside of the box. So yeah, I have these done. I will sacrifice a page just to kind of show you how they fit in. And yeah, so we will start, I'll do this smaller one. And I use tweezers a lot for placing stickers when I want them to be perfect. Okay, so this is the short half hour, so it's cropped. So it is meant to go right next to the time slot. And I made them, like this one looks like it could have been a little longer, but I did that because whenever you get into like the 10, 11, 12s, it's going to clearly be a little bit further over because it has that extra digit. But that is how that one will fit in. And then the longer one, I'll just do down here. So this one, of course, is meant to go the full length of the box. So you can see how that fits in perfectly right there. Yeah, and then, like I said, I'll make another video that shows you how to basically combine the two. So it'll be a cropped 1 hour. So it'll come in and then go over and then go down. It's a little more complicated, so I thought that this would be a good starting point. And then once you get used to this, it'll be a lot easier to do like a cropped 1 hour, cropped hour and a half, or whatever you want to do. So that is that. I don't know if there's a more efficient way that is easier or cheaper or whatever, but this is just what works for me, and I hope that you were able to get something out of it. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you leave them down below. Otherwise, make sure you subscribe and like this and all that good stuff. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.